What's going on, Jerome? It's a beautiful Saturday. I made it to the weekend, and this Sunday we will find out who's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. Now, a meme that has taken over the interwebs is the Super Bowl logo colors meme. Where over the last 3 years, the colors in the logo seem to kind of correspond with who plays. So the Bengals and the Rams, the orange and yellow in Super Bowl 61. 51. I freaking hate Roman numerals, man. 56. Nailed it. So then 57, you got green and you got red, so Eagles and Chiefs. And this year, since it's Vegas and it's red and purple, so that means Vikings Chiefs. So everyone's pointing out, hey, Niners and Ravens. Although some people are like, that's kind of a bluish purple. So maybe it's Chiefs and Lions. Probably not, right? But also, I'm really sort of pissed because the NFL has taken away something beautiful. So Super Bowl logos used to have pizzazz. They used to have character, man. They used to have. So I had a poster of this on my wall as a kid. I was a weird ass kid, but all the Super Bowl logos, like, they were awesome, and then they just turned into the standard silver, whatever, blah blah blah. So this was XLV. So 45. Yeah, Super Bowl 45 and 2 zigzags that just got boring. Whatever. It's so stupid, man. But allegedly, this is going to be the Super Bowl logo for Super Bowl 59. Nailed it. I think it's in New Orleans, probably. But I haven't found confirmation on this because, a lot of people have just photoshopped this thing. But, purple and green. So you're thinking Vikings and Jets, Vikings and the Jets, Vikes versus Rodgers, Hall of Bird Bones getting there if he makes it through the entire season, renewing the dumbest rivalry in sports history. Would love to see that. Something I also love to see. So Kirk Cousins is kind of like Forrest Gump. He just finds himself in weird situations. So at Hope College, which is a higher learning institution here in the great state of Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, 2 students stopped me after my PT, physical therapy, session at Hope, told me they'd get extra credit if I showed up at class, if I stopped by. Professor Gentile, which, that's a great name for a teacher. He couldn't have been called Professor Asshole. Thanks for having me, but now I'm holding you to that extra credit. It was great. I wonder what Kirk talked about. And all the photos from this were just fantastic. And Kirk, this has to become a meme. It has to become the guy standing in the corner at the party meme, where it's just like, they don't know that if I would have stayed healthy, I would have been MVP. Also, Kirk is dressed like every single Minnesotan dude, where when it gets above 30 degrees, he's wearing shorts. He's rocking things out. He's going, man. But I just love that Kirk finds himself in these silly situations. And, first off, so if you see Kirk on campus, and he gives you a ride to your class, so that's fantastic. But, what did Kirk talk about? Leadership and giving 110% every single day, and Pizza Ranch is the greatest, baby. All that stuff. It's good, man. It's good. Also good. So I believe in Michael Penix. I know that a lot of people don't because of Michigan, but don't forget Texas. Don't forget 2 years of freaking tape at Washington. But age, yes. Medicals, yes. But I think he has a really good shot to improve his stock coming up at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. But Bruce Feldman, so I love draft season because it's all about hyperbole and bling, blang, blow, and getting clicks and stuff. And so we've been accused of, putting out clickbait before, except we do it tongue in cheek. We know that we're doing it, as opposed to outlets. And I feel for them, like print outlets or digital, like legacy outlets. Like, they need the clicks to drive attention. So let's have some outlandish takes and let's see what we get in here. Yeah, but when we do it, we know we're doing it. It's kind of funny. But Bruce Feldman, who was a fantastic college football writer for The Athletic, the next C.J. Stroud, why Washington's Michael Penix Jr. could exceed NFL draft evaluations. And I do believe in Penix. I think that his age could benefit him because of maturity, as well as he probably has the best arm talent in this class. I would say that Drake May probably has the strongest arm, but just in terms of pop and velocity out of his left hand, it's amazing, man. Right? But Yeah, this happens every single year. So whenever a rookie quarterback blows up, you look for the next guy. So that happened with Brock Purdy. It's like, oh, let's just scour the 7th round. We can just find our guy and plug him into the system. And now that C.J. Stroud ripped the ball, cover off the ball as the number 2 overall pick, they're thinking, okay, guy up at the top of the draft will stick and pick, and he'll just fall into our lap, and he'll be rookie of the year. We'll see. We'll see, man. Also, some will also see. So, Andrew Brandt is a writer. I believe he's still at Sports Illustrated, or was at Sports Illustrated. Don't know. Monday Morning Quarterback, maybe. But he used to be GM of the Packers. Just ask him. But he said the reason no one is hiring Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll seems the same reason their teams parted with them, wanting new and younger, fresh faces leading their teams into the future. Now, part of that could be true, but also part of it is probably ageism. Let's be honest here. Belichick is in his 70s. He's 72. Pete Carroll is in his 70s as well. And plus, let's not act like these guys were coaching for cheap. Belichick reportedly was making $25 million per year. Pete Carroll, I'm sure, was up in there as well. Sylvie is wanting that cat treat that got stuck behind the box. She'll get it. But that's part of it as well. And whoever the Seahawks hire, I mean, it could be Mike Vrabel, it could be Ben Johnson. I mean, yeah, it's going to cost them a pretty penny, but it's probably not going to cost them as much as Pete. And the whole thing about Gerard Mayo is that he is not making Belichick money. And you could say, like, oh, young. But in terms of owners, it's like, oh, cheap. That's why Dave Canlis, 6-year deal. Do you think Dave Canlis is making big-time money? Do you think that Brian Callahan is making big-time money with the Tennessee Titans? No, he's not. So some of these coaches are old and expensive, and teams want young and cheap. So, I mean, Belichick and Pete Carroll are neither right now. But I still think the coaching is in their blood. It wouldn't shock me at all if Pete took over a small college football team at some point. Belichick, I mean, Belichick Pete Carroll podcast would be great. Also, kick in Nick Saban in there intermittently. It would just be really good. Just talking ball. Or no, do a Manning cast style thing with Belichick and Pete Carroll. That'd be great. I love it. And no guests, no shtick, no comedy routines, just them talking ball and cracking jokes and busting balls. Let's go, man. Speaking of ball, Todd Monken knows ball. So, I mean, Todd Monken's bounced around. He's coached in the NFL. He's coached in college. He's been a head coach. He's been an OC. Been all over the place. And, Todd Monken knows offense. He knows ball. Luke Jones, Ravens beat writer. Ravens OC Todd Monken on making in-game adjustments. Quote, like my wife says, I don't know why you don't just call the plays that work. It just seems that simple. Why would you call anything but the plays that work? I said, you're right, honey. As usual, you're right. So first off, he knows ball and he knows relationships. I mean, yes, you're correct, honey. You're correct, baby doll. But the whole thing is that this happens with us fans too, where a play call that does not work, oh, that was so stupid. Where if it does work, it's like genius call. I mean, the dude knows ball. It's like the back-to-back tush pushes against the Bengals on 3rd and 4th down behind the smallest center in the league, Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins just floated away, and Brandon Powell, the smallest guy on the team, doing the pushing. Now, if it would have worked, it'd be like, oh, there you go. Kevin O'Connell. The Bengals did not expect that. Plus, DJ Reader was out, I believe. So there you go. It nailed it. Or like that 4th and 8 play where why did Kirk throw it short of the sticks? Where do you think the defenders are lined up? Or every single time where it's like, say it's 3rd and 12 and they throw it underneath or they throw like a 10 or 11 yard route. I was like, oh, how come they don't run a 12-yard route? Where do you think the defenders are? And also, most of these plays, especially from the West Coast system, especially from the Bill Walsh tree, like the plays are very precise. The footwork, where the route breaks off, where you cut, you can't just extend that. So if the outside X receiver is supposed to cut off his route at 7.5 yards, it's going to be 7.5 yards on the 5th step. It's not going to be 8. So if it's 3rd and 8 and he gets stopped, I mean, that is what it is. It's kind of fun, man. It's great. But that's what we do as fans. And the whole thing, too, is like, hey, so with the air raid system, there's a lot of mesh concepts. So underneath, the two receivers run a rub route. One guy is going to get open generally. And if you catch them in like single high man, you have a chance to hit Yahtzee. If one of your crossers beats his man or gets picked underneath, doesn't get called, I mean, you have a chance to completely take that thing to the house. But, I mean, if they're sitting in the hook zones underneath, if they're playing zone, I mean, that thing could not work out and could turn into a pick. And of course, that's a stupid call, but it all came down to what coverage the defense is playing. Or you could, I mean, the offense could draw up a play that's perfect. I mean, like they can run a trap, they can run a power, but if one offensive lineman doesn't get across the face of his guy, misses a block, and the defender makes a hero play, I mean, that's a stupid play. Now, you were this close from pay dirt, man, and that's the fine line, and that's why football's so fun. Pacino's right. It all comes down. It's a game of inches. That's what she said. Yeah. I have no transition, but so Damar Hamlin, who was named Pro Football Writers Association's Comeback Player of the Year, and it should be Damar, right? So there are very, very unique circumstances this year. Damar Hamlin literally died, and he came back. I don't care that Damar was a healthy scratch for most of the season. I don't care that he played some special teams. I do not care. The dude came back and was on the field, and that's all that matters. So he should win by default. But yeah, all the talk about Joe Flacco coming back, baby, what's up? What's up? But all the talk about Joe Flacco coming back, and also like Tua and Stafford and Baker Mayfield and stuff. So most of the time, it's player coming back from injury or a player coming back from being ass. Thank you. But Flacco, he hits the nail on the head. Flacco said this quote: "Most of the guys on that list, I'm not sure what we're coming back from. I'm just coming back from what? Being old and not being on a team for a couple of months." And he's exactly right. And I really hope that the AP writers get this thing right and vote Damar Hamlin the Comeback Player of the Year, because if they vote Flacco or anyone else up there and they have to awkwardly go up there and accept that over Damar, that'd be so stupid. And 100%, if Flacco went, I don't even think Flacco's going to show up to the NFL honors thing. He doesn't seem like his cup of tea or his brand of whiskey. So I think that Flacco, if he wins it, automatically you're just giving that to Damar. And that's, again, reason 5,972 why people shouldn't be allowed to vote on anything. Next up. So birthdays. It is your birthday. Jordan Addison turned 22. And Ronaldo Addison Sr., fantastic on the Twitter machine. I also think he watches the channel. So shout out to Addison, the elder. And so you love to see it. You love to see dads and parents just really involved in kids' lives. And Addison... Yeah, he's a proud papa. And Addison, he made Kenny Pickett at Pitt, won the Biletnikoff Award, tricked the world into thinking Kenny Pickett was a first-round pick. Won Caleb Williams the Heisman. You saw how Caleb Williams struggled. And Addison propped up 4 quarterbacks this year: Kirko, Josh Dobbs, Mullins, and Jaron Hall. So future is extremely bright. Also, full seasons of him and JJ together. Woo! Let's go, man. Let's go. Speaking of Dobbs, it's also Dobbs' birthday. And the Passionate time was fun. I mean, let's be honest here. Dobbs, not knowing his teammates' names, just chilling, and just like, hey, I'm coming in. I'm slanging this rock. I'm running all over the place. I'm making plays. The Falcons game was great. The first half of the Saints game was great. But then I feel like Kevin O'Connell almost got in his own way. And, I mean, yeah, you can't have a guy... See you there, Sylvie. You can't have a guy just not know the playbook. But when Dobbs was just making things up and playing, schoolyard football, I mean, he was great. But it felt like once he got into the offense, Kevin O'Connell was calling the Kirk Cousins offense. I mean, the drop back pocket quarterback offense didn't really. I mean, he put in a couple read options for Dobbs, but that's really about it. Also, that stupid Lulu third down play where Hawkinson, pitched it to Dobbs, and then he got concussed when Kareem Jackson put a dirty hit on him. And also, I think that was the inflection point of the Passionate Mania, where Dobbs, I think, was concussed after that. And you saw him being tentative the rest of the Broncos game. I think him being tentative definitely cost the Vikings the game, but it is what it is. Sean Payton strikes again. Where do you think Dan Campbell learned it from, man? But I mean, Dobbs, he's a free agent. I mean, if you brought him back, so say the Vikings go get a Jaden Daniels or a Drake May or a quarterback that is going to be a dual threat guy. I mean, do you bring Dobbs back as his backup? Because say you got Mullins for another year, but Mullins is not going to run the same offense as a Drake May or as a Jaden Daniels, right? So I don't know if this would be the end for Josh Dobbs because, like we said, like Kwesi did trade for him. So I guess we'll see what happens, man. Lastly, speaking of the Lions, so Hendon Hooker popped up with a tooth injury. Now, questionable. He's QB3 behind Goof and Teddy, but I mean Hendon Hooker, third-round pick out of Tennessee. I liked him a lot. Coming off that ACL, started the year on the pup, but I mean, there's too many jokes to be made where it's not even fun. Like the Hooker with the tooth injury, come on, man. But we'll see, and I don't know, like I just want the Lions to lose. That's all. And partly it's because I am quite invested in San Francisco going to the Super Bowl, specifically against the Ravens, and then losing to the Ravens. So hopefully that pans out with the Super Bowl logo meme. We'll see. But that's it. That's the dump on this wonderful Saturday. Sylvie's going nuts trying to get that treat. You know what to do. Skull production value.